Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digital,
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digital TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
You have got to get up pretty early to go do something. We are the Alternative Dig Talk. With our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
President Museveni wadde juzi namulaba apima akawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba alya kilo 5 oyannema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the Alternative Digital etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugendo maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop and smart TVs as we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the Alternative Dig Talk.
Migrant stakeholders run bill abiri emisinde zigenda okubera ku ssaawa ekkololo ku Sande nga 2 October. Tudduka okusonda ssente okuddaabiriza ekifo ekibudaabuda bankuba kyeyo nga bakomyewo. Eddembe lya bannayuganda bakolebwe buvunaanyizibwa bwaffe era kitukakatako okulwanirira eddembe n'obwenkanya mu mirimu gy'abankuba kyeyo. N'olwekyo weetabe mu kuddaabiriza ekifo kino ng'ogula kiti ya $2.5 okuva ku petrol station za Shell Kabalagala, Shell Lugogo, Capital, Shell Najjanankumbi, Shell Nansana, Shell Namave ne Shell Buloba. Biwagidwa Star Times, Reham, Fresh Dairy, Roofings, Housing Finance Bank, Maritime Cargo. Olwo ne bikutusibako ofisi ya President ku nsonga z'emitala w'amayanja, Uwera ne Migrant Workers Voice. Nebitegekebwa Sinat Advertising.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Ziri munana zezakaita ku ssaawa emu ey'amakya g'olunaku luno olwaleero olunaku lwakuna ennaku z'omwezi tubala 15 tuli mu mwezi ogwa Mutunda omwaka 2022. The Mighty Drive ye program gy'olimu okulaba nze omumbejja luwedde Lydian era nga ngenda kutuusaako amawulire agabadde ate gwe gy'otabadde tulakalira ogenda kubanga ate ogootabuliro naye olunaku olwaleero Mighty Drive kugenda kubeerako abagenyi ab'enjawulo era nga kuliko omukyala atwine Sabrina ono no founder owa Nimarungi oba kale muyite CEO owa Nimarungi agenda kuba tubulya Nimarungi biki ebiriyo biki byetwetaaga okubanga tutegeera abavubuka ensonga zino zigenda okwogerako olwaleero zigenda kubanga ate zibakwatako bulungi awo nno kwogatta Muyinda Regan era ng'ono activist network coordinator Action Aid Kampala bebagenyi abagenda okubeera ku Mighty Drive ey'olunaku luno olwaleero nkutegeeza tuli butereevu ku The Alternative Uganda Facebook page okuno kwossa Digital TV gyemikutu kosobola okubeera nga ate munnange otufunira gwe ayagala okubanga onyumirwa programs zaffe ez'enjawulo buli lunaku olw'Emmande okutuuka olunaku olw'okumakya ebeera ssaawa emu ey'okumakya paka ssaawa 3 The Mighty Drive ebeerawo era nga tubeerako kuno nga tukuwa ensonga ez'enjawulo ezibeera zitambudde ate gwe gy'otabadde awamu n'abagenyi ab'enjawulo nga boogera ku miramwa ate egy'enjawulo era nga nkutegeeza gwe weena ayagala okubanga oyina ekibuuzo ky'obuuza kyoteesa kyowabula ku programu y'olunaku luno olwaleero agenda butereevu mu comment section woba oteeka ate endowooza yo omukulu Rogers agenda kubanga agikusomera bulungi nnyo nga programu tennaba kubanga ewunzikibwa nkutegeeza tuli butereevu ku The Alternative Uganda Facebook page Digital TV gyemikutu ate kosobola okubeera nga otufunira so nno gwatulabira ku YouTube tuli The Alternative Uganda genda subscribing ate ku YouTube channel yaffe naawe obeere nga oli omu kubawoomera programs ennyuvu ate munnange ze tulina ngenda kubanga ate nkutwala butereevu mu mawulire ag'olunaku luno olwaleero oba updates ez'amawulire agabadde ate gy'otabadde ngenda kutandikira ate e Bungereza ewabadde n'abakyala wa Bungereza Queen Elizabeth II ono nno ate yatuva ku maaso wiiki ewedde era nga ate omukyalo ono abadde amalidde ddala emyaka egiwerera ddala 7 nga yenna abakyala ate owa Bungereza ono yatuva ku maaso wiiki ewedde era nga kutegeeza nti entebe yagigendako mu mwaka ogwa 1952 wetwogerera omubiri gwe gwamaze dda okubanga gutwalibwa mu Westminster Hall era ng'eno bannansi gye bagenda okubanga ate bamukubako eriiso evvannyuma kiro nno kigenda kutwalira ddala ennaku eziwerera ddala 4 nga bannansi ate bamukubako eriiso evvannyuma ono nno okuziika ebungereza bali mu kungubaga kuno kwa nnaku 10 naye nga olunaku olw'eggulo omubiri gwe gwasuze mu Westminster Hall era nga eno bannansi munnange gye bagendera ddala mu maaso n'okubanga bamukubako eriiso evvannyuma ennyiriri ate zasimbiddwa abantu batandise dde okusimba ennyiriri okubanga bakuba eriiso evvannyuma kwabadde n'abakyala owa Bungereza era nga n'omu ku bakungubazi abakungubagidde n'abakyala wa Bungereza ye President wa America Joe Biden era ng'ono yayogedde ne King Charles III nno yadidde n'abakyala mu bigere era n'asindika obubaka bwe obukungubaga nga yatenderezza nnyo ate emirimu gy'abadde n'abakyala wa Bungereza era nga yategeezezza nti yabadde musaale nnyo mu kugezako okulaba nti America ate beegattira ddala Bungereza yeegattira ddala n'amawanga nga America awamu n'amawanga ate ag'enjawulo era n'ategeeza nti yali musanyufu nnyo era n'abakyala yalaga ekisa ekingi bwe yabakyazaako mu Windsor Castle mu mwezi guno gwennyini ogwa Ssebaaseka ogw'omwaka guno gwennyini ogwa 2022 ago nno ge mawulire ate agava erudda eyo era nga abaana bannabakyala okuli King Charles III ono ye yamudidde mu bigere kuliko Princess Anne ne kubeerako n'abalangira babiri okuli Andrew awamu ne Edward nabo babaddewo nnyo ku mukolo guno era nga okungubagira n'abakyala kukyagendera ddala mu maaso ate erudda eyo bwe tuba tweyongeddeyo still ku nsonga za n'abakyala wa Bungereza Parliament eya Uganda nabo bakungubagidde abadde Queen owa Bungereza olunaku lwabadde lwaggulo era ng'ekiteeso kino kyaleeteddwa Prime Minister wa Uganda Robina Nabbanja era ng'ono yatenderezza nnyo emirimu gy'abadde n'abakyala wa Bungereza bwe kituuka ku mawanga agali mu Commonwealth era nga omukyalo ono yatendereza nnyo emirimu n'abakyala wa Bungereza gyakoledde eggwanga lino erya Uganda ate nga ye yakiikiridde oludda oluvuganya government ku lwa leader of opposition yabadde Honorable Muwanga Kivumbi era ngono yakiikiridde ab'oludda ate oluvuganya government era nga naye yatendereza nnyo emirimu gy'abadde n'abakyala wa Bungereza. Bwe nayogerayo still mu parliament omubaka Nkunyingi Muwada mu kukungubagira abadde n'abakyala wa Bungereza yasabye parliament ate ebeere ya kisa erowooze oba ate esonyiwe ababaka bannaabwe okuli mubaka Muhammad Segirinya awamu n'omubaka Alan Sewanyana bano nate abamaze mu nkomyo ebbanga erisobera ddala mu mwaka omulamba era nga yasabye bekube mu kifuba ate balowooze ku babaka bano era baweebwe munnange ekisonyiwo basobole okudda mu parliament ate okuteeseza abantu bebakiikirira kyenajjukirwa nti bano ate basibwa ku nsonga oba ku byekuusa ku bijambiya ebyali e Masaka era nga mu kuddamu Deputy Speaker wa Parliament omukulu Thomas Tayebwa ye ate yamubuuzizza nti gwe kyotegeeza nti kufa kwa Queen ate bwe yafudde n'abakyala wa Bungereza bwe yafudde abasibe bonna ababadde basibwa bagenda kubanga bateebwa kwe kwonna ate okwabadde okuddibwamu kwa mukulu Thomas Tayebwa era ngono Deputy Speaker wa Parliament. Tukyeyongerayo the mighty global news updates zengenda maaso n'okubanga ate nkuwa nze omumbejja luwedde Lydian bwe tunaaba tumaliriza updates tugenda kuwumulamu katono nnyo bwe tukoma mighty drive egenda kubanga ate etandika nga kuliko omukyala atwine Sabrina ononna ate CEO wa Nimalonji ate okukogata Mwinda Regan onono activist network coordinator Action Aid Kampala ensonga zebagenda okubanga boogerako nsonga z'abavubuka botya ate bwe basobola okubanga baganyulwa bwe basobola okubanga ate beekulakulanya awamu n'okubanga ate balwanirira space ebeereriwo bw'otunuulira abavubuka abatikkirwa ensangi zino bawerera ddala ma universities ag'enjawulo naye ate bw'otunuulira katale emirimu egiriko ate munnange tegimala bw'otunuulira ennamba ey'abayizi ate ebeera etikkirwa kyekyetaaga okubanga kikolebwa omuvubuka ate osobodde otya okubanga ovuunuka embeera eyo gw'omuvubuka tuulakalira omukulu Rogers Tulyahabwe agenda kubanga ate kuleetera abagenyi bano be bagenda okubanga ate boogera ku nsonga zino zotasanya kubanga ate obuusa amaaso bwe neeyongerayo tuzeeko ate kati mu Uganda Airlines eno nno CEO Jennifer Bamuturachi ono nno ate akakiiko era kayongedde okumukonya oluvannyuma lw'okuba nti aba airlines bano baali basaba weeks 2 basobole okubanga beetereza omukyalo ono yazzeemu wiiki eno n'alabikako mu kakiiko aka parliament akakosase akalondoola emirimu gy'ebitongole ebya government era nga kano kakulirwa omubaka Joel Ssenyonyi bamukunyiza ku bigambibwa nti yaweebwa ssente okubanga agenda mu mawanga ag'enjawulo airlines gyeyina offices naye nga ate kigambibwa nti teyasobola kubeera nga agendayo mu mawanga ge yali alina okugendamu mwalimu Nairobi yali alina okugenda mu kibuga Nairobi Juba Kinshasa awamu n'amawanga ag'enjawulo era nga kino kyali kyakubeerawo ng'ennaku z'omwezi 28 omwezi ogwa June so nga ate yalina okutuukira ddala ennaku z'omwezi 3 omwezi ogwa July omwaka 2021 wabula nga ate mukyala Jennifer yeewozezzaako n'ategeeza nti ye yatambula n'agenda e Nairobi n'agenda e Dar es Salaam n'agenda e Kilimanjaro era n'ategeeza nti akyagenda maaso n'okuba nga ate atambula era nga ne mu mwaka guno agenda kuddamu okutambula era n'asaba okwewozaako kwe akuteeke ate mu buwandiike wabula ate omubaka wa Nebbi Municipality Honorable Hashim Sulaiman yamugambye stop being arrogant akono yakogedde ddala mu luzungu nange bwenti bwensazeewo okubanga ate nga kuleetera nayongerako nti ne bw'obanga olina abanene abakuli emabega munnange ensonga zino zetwogerako nsonga za ggwanga nsonga zizimba ggwanga ne bw'anaabeera mukulembeze wa ggwanga tujja mutuusiza obubaka ate tumubuulire biki munnange byokola era nti byokola ebyo ate si birungi n'akamu. Tukyagenda mu maaso era nga nkyagenda mu maaso n'okuba nga nkuwa amawulire okuva still mu Uganda Airlines awamu n'akakiiko akakosase. Era still omukyalo ono Jennifer Bamutulaki yakunyiziddwa ku bigambibwa nti waliwo companies ezimu eziweebwa contractor era nga zino munnange engeri gye ziweebwamu contract munnange eryawo yamankwetu temanyiddwa bulungi. Company ezimu ezogerako kuliko company ya Ambavata eno nno ng'ate yaweebwa contract okubanga etunda ekifaananyi kya airline mu mawanga ag'enjawulo era nga bano baali bakufuna ssente ziwera ddala obukadde 174 buli mwezi. Bw'otunuulira bw'okujjukizaako katono nnyo mu mwaka ogwali gwa 2019 bwe twali nga twaniriza ennyonyi eza Bombardier ezasooka omukolo ogwakolebwa guno nno okwaniriza ennyonyi ezo gwasasanyizibwako obukadde obwera ddala 778 era nga kakiiko kakosase kategeezezza nti ssente zino zaali ssente mpitirivu nnyo bw'otunuulira airline ebbanga lyebadde emaze nga yakaddamu okugulwawo awamu ate ne losses ze bazzenga bakola. Era akulira akakiiko kano mubaka Joel Senyonyi yabuuzizza mukyala Bamutulaki nti lwaki balondawo kampani yasaba ssente empitirivu so nga ate waliwo companies endala 2 ate nga banoddo baali basaba ssente zaali wakati w'obukadde 35 n'obukadde 36 kubanga batunda ekifaananyi kya airline ya Uganda mu mawanga ate ag'ebweru. Naye ate mukyala Jennifer mu kwewozaako okuba mu kuddamu yategeezezza nti ensonga zino teyaziriimu era ye tabimanyiiko era naga nti nno ye mu kiseera ekyo si yali yakola performance regulation okulaba ani asaanidde naani atagwanidde. Naye ng'ate mu kiseera ekyo bino nno we byabeererawo omukyalo ono ye yali avunaanyizibwa mu kugaba contracts mu Uganda Airlines era nga gamawulire ate nago ge gava eruuyi eyo era ono bamukunyiza ne ku kyokubanga ate akozesa akadaala aka kampani eno eya Ambavata oba gite postal address gye yateeka ku biwandiiko bye ng'asaba omulimu gw'okubeera CEO wa Uganda Airlines. Munnange akadaala ke era ke ka kampani eya Ambavata eno nate nga bwe nkugambye nti yaweebwa contract y'okutunda ekifaananyi kya Uganda Airlines mu mawanga ate amalala. Era bwe yabadde yeewozaako yategeezezza nti munnange engeri gye kiri nti abamu ku bakulira kampani eno mwalimu mukwano gwe munnange mukwano gwe oyo ye yamukkiriza okubanga ate akozesa postal address eno. Tukyagenda maaso the mighty global news updates nze Omumbeja Luwedde Lydian bwe tuddako ate era still mu mawulire amalala enkuba efudde mbe ennaku zino ate munnange ereetedde bannayuganda okubanga beeraliikirira. Bw'otunuulira enkuba bwezeeyisa abantu mu bitundu bya Kampala okuli Bonga Soya okuli ku Clock Tower ku Batabata ku luguudo nno olw'Entebe munnanga amawulire agabadde gaveeyo tegabadde mawulire malungi era nga waliwo n'abamu ate abafudde olw'ensonga y'enkuba efudde mbe ennaku zino nti amataba gabadde mangi abamu babadde batambulira mu mataba gano oba mu mazzi gano agabeera ganjadde abamu n'alinnya miisi ate munnange n'agwa n'afiiramu mu mazzi ago. Naye ng'ate Deputy ED wa KCCA omukulu David Luyimbazi ye yategeezezza nti emyala bagezezzaako okubanga bagigogola naye ate bannakampala basaanidde okubeera nga nabo beebeereramu bwe kituuka ku nsonga ez'obuyonjo awamu n'okukuuma obutonde bw'ensi. Ono nno yategeezezza nti bannakampala basuula kasasiro ate mu myala ne gizibikira era ng'enkuba bw'etuuka okutonnya amazzi ate gaba tegalinaako bwe gasobola kubeera nga gayita. Ebitundu ebirala ebyakoseddwa Ebuyikwe nayo enkuba yatonnye nonno netikkulako n'obusolya ku mayumba ate awamu n'amasinzizo awamu n'amakampani ag'enjawulo era nga amawulire nago agava esayidi eyo si malungi. Amuru naye ate bakoseddwa omugga Onyama nagwo munaye bwe gwabooza era nga abantu abali mu bitundu ebiriraanyeewo nabo batandise dde okubanga beesega ekibambulira owate okubanga bataasa obulamu. Ago natege mawulire agakwata ku nsonga z'enkuba naye ng'ate bannayuganda twegendereze enkuba bwe banga etonnye bw'olaba nga amazzi mangi ate towalaza mpaka kuyitamu munnange tomanya oyinza okulinnya miisi oba ate n'olinnya esayidi enkyamu n'olinnya mwala amazzi gano ne gabeera nga gakutwala era bw'olaba ng'enkuba etonya nnyingi nnyo oba ate nga amataba gakyali mangi nnyo oba nga amazzi gakyayanjadde mu bitundu ebyenjawulo naali kusabye ate obutawalaza mpaka okusingira ddala aba boda munnange bwe basinga okulemerako waliwo akatambi ke nabadde ndabako nga waliwo wa boda yabadde agezaako okusala amazzi munnange ate ne bitatambula bulungi piki ye kwe yabadde amazzi gabadde gamutwala era abantu abo abaddewo be bamuyambye okusobola okubanga munnange avaako bulungi. Kaneyongereyo n'amawulire amalala. Uganda Bureau of Statistics kino ekitongole kikola ku bibalo mu ggwanga bategeezezza nti bwe twatukidde omwezi ogw'omunaana ebbeeyi y'ebintu yabadde erinnye ngeri ku bitundu 9 ku buli 100 okuva ku bitundu 7 n'obutundutundu 9 ku buli 100 bwe gwali mu mwezi ogw'omusanvu era nga ebimu ku bisinza okulinnya bino nno biri ku mmere era nga amatooke ebijanjaalo kasooli n'ebirala bingi nnyo ebigwa mu kkowe eryo munnange byalinyera ne bategeeza nti bannayuganda munnange musaanidde okubanga mubeera bulindala kubanga embeera tennaba kubanga ate edda mu nteeko naye nze ndaba okusinziira akakubakuba engeri gye katonyamu ennaku zino abalimi ate bazzeeyo dda mu nnimiro okubanga ate munnange balima era nga tusuubira nti oba oliawo obudde ebbanga bwe linaaba litambuddeko embeera ejja kusobola okubanga ate edda mu nteeko. Njagala ndooza malirize n'eggulire lya minisita Pacis Namuganza nono yalabiseeko mu kakiiko aka Parliament akakola ku nsonga z'empisa ku bigambibwa nti yaziimula Parliament bwe baali bakola ku nsonga ze eza Naggulo Nakawa ettaka eryo lye munnanga ate lyeyagaba era n'ategeeza era nga abakulu bano basaba nti agibwemu obwesige olw'okukozesa obubi yafeesi ye wabula ono nno bwe yabadde tanneekandagga kuva mu kakiiko kano yasabye ate aweebwe obujulizi mu buwandiike asobole okumanya ebimuvunaanibwa oba ebimwogerwako bituufu oba si bituufu kuba yabasabye n'akatambi ate akalaga obanga be bamuvunaana babirinako obujulizi. Akakiiko kano kabadde kakulembeddwamu Reverend Father Charles Onen era nga ye minisita yeeganye munnange bino byonna ebimwogerwako yabasabye baleete obujulizi mu buwandiike era abamu ku bajulizi ababaddeko kwabaddeko Honorable Sarah Opendi kwabaddeko Honorable Moses Sirwanyi awamu ate n'ababaka abalala nga bano bategeezezza nti ebintu bino ebimwogerwako yabiyisa ku mukutu ogwa WhatsApp guno nno gulimu ogugatta ababaka ba Parliament ab'enjawulo era nga akakiiko kano katudde okwogera ku nneeyisa ya minisita ku biki bye yapostinga mu kakiiko ako ku nsonga z'obukiiko buno obwa Parliament nga yeebuuza lwaki twetaaga obukiiko buno obwa Parliament so nga ate tulina obukiiko bulala obwali badde bukola ku nsonga nga zino n'ebirala bingi nnyo byeyongerezaako oba oliawo byesosobodde kubanga ate nkumenyera ago nno ge mawulire gensobodde okubanga nkufunira obanga nkusakira gwe ate abaddeyo ndooza ate ogawulidde bulungi nnyo era nga wano ngenda okubanga ate nga wunzikira tugenda kusooka tuwumulemu katono nnyo the mighty drive ye program gyoli mukulaba bwe tukomawo omukulu Rogers tuli ahabwe agenda kubanga akomawo n'abagenyi nga bwe nabakutegeezezzaako Muyinda Regan awamu n'omukyala Asimwe Sabrina ensonga ezigenda okubanga zogerwako nsonga z'abavubuka zotasaanidde kubeera nga ate obuusa amaaso tuwumulamu katono nnyo tukyagenda mu maaso ku the Alternative Uganda Facebook page kwe tuli butereevu awamu ne Digital TV nze omumbejja luwedde Lilian katsoke tuwumulemu katono nnyo temuvaawo.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
My Migrant stakeholders run bili abirimu ebiri emisinde gigenda okubeera ku ssaawa ekkololo ku Sande nga 2 October. Tudduka okusonda ssente okuddaabiriza ekifo ekibudaabuda bankuba kyeyo nga bakomyewo. Eddembe lya bannayuganda bakolebwe buvunaanyizibwa bwaffe era kitukakatako okulwanirira eddembe n'obwenkanya mu mirimu gy'abankuba kyeyo. N'olwekyo weetabe mu kuddaabiriza ekifo kino ng'ogula kiti ya $2.5 okuva ku petrol station za Shell, Shell Kabalagala, Shell Lugogo, Capital, Shell Najanankumbi, Shell Nansana, Shell Namave ne Shell Buloba. Biwagidwa Star Times, Reham, Fresh Dairy, Roofings, Housing Finance Bank, Maritime Cargo. Olwo ne bikutusibako ofisi ya President ku nsonga z'emitala w'amayanja, Uwera ne Migrant Workers Voice ne bitegekebwa Sinat Advertising.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digital,
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
Migrant stakeholders run bili abirimu ebiri emisinde gigenda okubeera ku ssaawa ekkololo ku Sande nga 2 October. Tudduka okusonda ssente okuddaabiriza ekifo ekibudaabuda bankuba kyeyo nga bakomyewo. Eddembe lya bannayuganda bakolebwe buvunaanyizibwa bwaffe era kitukakatako okulwanirira eddembe n'obwenkanya mu mirimu gy'abankuba kyeyo. N'olwekyo weetabe mu kuddaabiriza ekifo kino ng'ogula kiti ya $2.5 okuva ku petrol station za Shell, Shell Kabalagala, Shell Lugogo, Capital, Shell Najanankumbi, Shell Nansana, Shell Namave ne Shell Buloba. Biwagidwa Star Times, Reham, Fresh Dairy, Roofings, Housing Finance Bank, Maritime Cargo. Olwo ne bikutusibako ofisi ya President ku nsonga z'emitala w'amayanja, Uwera ne Migrant Workers Voice ne bitegekebwa Sinat Advertising.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome to today's edition of the Mighty Drive. My name is Roger Subiawe, and this day I have the humble privilege to serve in this capacity. I'll be moderating this discussion with a gentleman and a lady, one of whom is a CEO. We want to, and I hope there's some good back behind the name. And another one is a gentleman who has been in the spaces of young people. I like to have a conversation around the issues of young people because let me tell you, we live in a society, the world and society, particularly Uganda, that is dominated by young people. And so it's important that as the majority stakeholders, we have discussions that are important to us, but also to the society as a whole. And so this day, we are going to be looking at investment opportunities for young people. We have startups in Africa as a whole, but also Uganda in particular. We'll look at unemployment and underemployment. We'll look at youth inclusion in a lot of decision-making spaces, because most of the times why we have had issues is because young people have been left behind by and large, and so it becomes quite hard. So before I go into that, I will give them an opportunity to introduce themselves, and we'll go by the traditional approach. Ladies first. Please say hello and tell us, what do you do even?
Hello everyone, Sabrina. And yeah, I'm a founder of a startup called Nimarunji, but as well a student leader and a youth leader in the community. I'm a law student at Islamic University in Uganda.
Oh, you have an OB here?
Oh, there's an OB here.
One not deserted you though.
Okay, hi to them wherever they are. And I'm the Law Society president for my school. Yeah.
For the School of Law, IU?
Yes.
Oh, that's quite interesting. I have a colleague who I think he has graduated, he has left at IU. So what exactly is Nimarunji?
So Nimarunji is an early stage startup that basically focuses on data and information as well as capacity building programs to eradicate education inequality among schools. Yeah. So our interests are on young people. How can we make sure that they are benefiting from the education sector, in that by the time they leave, there's a smooth transition from school to work for them. Can they be able to create their own jobs, or if they cannot create their own jobs, do they have employability skills for them to be hired and for them to be competent out there? Yeah.
So it's more like a skilling
yes,
program.
yeah, we can say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my other guest is a gentleman. He's going to introduce himself. I'll not give him the honor of introducing himself.
Thank you, Rogers. My name is Minda Regan. I'm a procurement person by books, yeah, from Machambogo University. However, I'm pursuing public policy analysis from the London School of Economics and Political Science. I'm currently working as the ActionAid youth ambassador in terms of youth activists. So we do a lot of social movements, we do a lot of capacity building. Yeah, so really it's just a big sample space for young people to grow different areas. However, personally, I do believe in social movements for change in terms of all spheres. Somehow, the structures sometimes can be, but social movements like she's doing, I think, are the change for the young people. So yeah, that's what we basically do at ActionAid Activista program. Yeah.
Okay, so you are both welcome. This is the Mighty Drive. Please feel free. We do have discussions around here. We don't have interviews, so we you don't have to feel like you're on a hot seat or something. So we try to learn from each other, do one thing or two, like you're doing. We all both are doing in your areas of space. Yeah. And the little contribution you're making to the youth community out there, we're also trying to contribute ours here. Because we realize that out there, the space is not that equal, and especially when you come to the media part, the mainstream is mostly dominated by other people who are not young people. And even those that are available are expensive to afford. So we thought, why not? Let's have a space for young people. Yeah. So, Behavior, you're welcome to this discussion. And so we're going to begin from a note of equal opportunities. You both have been in the space of young people, so it's not that I'm going to be saying something new. We have had issues of startups, including yours that is new. Yeah. And for the most part, you have seen African startups collapse, not even celebrating their first birthday. Yeah. What do you think that could be the problem?
Well, for me, I think that's, yes, like you have said, that's like a very huge challenge for startups. And it rotates around many factors. First of all, if we are talking about, say, investment, this is something that is of shared responsibility, meaning the investors have their parts to take, the startups have their part, and all of them, they have different problems and different challenges that they face, yeah? So one, I think that for these startups to actually grow, there's going to be need to like understand their position, because inequality comes with differences, yeah? Yes, yes. It comes with our different societal status. It comes with gender differences. It comes with politics, it comes with geographical settings. Someone who comes from Kabale district can't perform as much as someone who comes from Kampala district. There's that kind of like gap, yeah? So one, I think for us to actually ensure that these startups grow, we need to understand their differences, yeah? And then in that way, our approaches actually are relevant to what? To them. Because if, like, let's say maybe a government, government or these policymakers are coming up with solutions, but they are only basing on like startups that are in Kampala with their solutions, the solutions they bring about are not going to be relevant to those that are in rural what? Areas, because the challenges are different for what? For the different startups, yeah. So it's going to be like very important for policymakers or these startup hubs, because there are very many startup hubs that give support to startups, for them to understand that these startups are actually coming from different positions and different areas, and they face challenges that are different compared to what? To the other. And I think at that point, that's when we can have a good discussion on how we can actually support these startups so that they grow instead of, like, you know, dying before they even start the dream. Yeah.
And for the most part, okay, so the truth is we have had an approach of one show fits all, which has been a problem. But also at one point, do you think that even the people who begin the startups do not make enough education? They are not educated, they don't understand the dynamics of the startups before they even begin. So you come with a mindset that I want to make money, because let me tell you, most of us will begin, and most of the startups, by the way, are owned by young people, 30 something at most. And so you will see that most of them will rush to wanting to make money. And so we don't make research, we don't understand the dynamics of the businesses, and then they collapse. So is it the problem of, who is concerned about this whole issue anyway, to begin with?
So like I said, investment or startup growth is like a shared responsibility, yeah? I've said the startups themselves, they have their own responsibility. The government itself, it has a responsibility or something they contribute to their growth, as well as the funders or the hubs that give them support. So yeah, it's very true. Most startups also don't have what it takes, because also for me to invest money in you, I have to be sure that I can get returns from what? From you. Yeah, from you, or what you're doing, or even is what you're doing relevant to me. So it's very sad that some startups get so excited with growth. Like entrepreneurship has been like set around, like, you know, expanding. So like the only growth we think about is getting more money, getting more employers, getting more, I don't know, maybe more assets. But we forget that sometimes growth is actually not beneficial to us as it would look, yeah? Because me getting those many employers comes with its own challenges. And if I don't start at a stage of really understanding what kind of growth I want, do I understand my concept? Do I understand my model? Does it relate with investors? Even when I grow, I'm going to definitely get overwhelmed. Because if I get those many employers, I don't know what to do with them. I won't know how to do what? How to manage them. Yeah. Or even if I get those many investors, yeah, I won't even know how to like maintain them. It will be a what? A problem. So I think startups really also have like a very huge responsibility on their end. Like I've said, even government, making sure that processes and policies are easy for them, yeah, because, you know, there are taxes, all those things affect what? Startups, and the government has like a hand in what? A hand in that.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's really a shared responsibility for the most part.
Okay, so Regan, looking at the environment as it stands, you will see, if I've read in some reports the statistics, like I said, most of these SMEs, the startups, don't celebrate their first birthdays. And so we see that, and if you look at Africa as a whole, the entrepreneurship, the whole startup system it has been overwhelmed. There is a lot of startups here and there, but most of them don't really succeed. And so I wanted to understand your perspective of what you think could be the cause, and do you think we can counter? How can we approach that?
Now, first of all, there is a big difference between SMEs and startups. And when we treat SMEs as startups, that's where the problem comes in. The difference is startups they start small, okay, but then they are aiming to grow big. Yeah, and normally they are game changers. Facebook is a startup.
Yes.
Or was a startup. And Nimarunji is a startup. Yeah? But now when you treat Nimarunji Foundation and you treat it like the same kiosk around the corner there, then that's where now the problem comes in, because that means it is going to, one, affect your regulation, two, the policy formulation will also be affected. Because SMEs, normally they are small, yeah, and they are created to foot our lifestyle. I create a mobile money kiosk because, yeah, I want to have a few coins running in on me, yeah. But then I create a startup, and the plan actually is like a mega one. Alternative Digital is a startup because, you know, you could look at something that could change the media space in Uganda, yeah. So the problem comes in with us treating SMEs and startups, and that's where also the policies that we have today somehow are lacking. Because when you look at, for example, Amazon operated for 12 years without making any profit, but it was still supported. How many of our startups today in Africa can last 3 years without making any profit?
Is that a problem of regulation, or it's a problem of a prototype and the way you structure?
First of all, it's a problem of failing to realize that the way you treat someone who is coming up with a phone shouldn't be the same way you treat with someone who is starting his bus something somewhere. Because this person, I will give you an example. When you look at the capital market ventures that we have, if Nimarunji is looking for a seed grant from government and is going through the same process that a guy who is operating his kaba somewhere is also going through, it doesn't make sense. Because the idea is supposed to be that for us to improve on our country in terms of the startups, because these are the only ones that can you know, attract the foreign kind of investment that we have,
the venture
or that
capital
we
fund
need.
and equity.
When you look at FDIs won't come, foreign direct investment won't come and you know, go into kiosks and all that. Yeah, they will come and look at Kakebe technologies you're introducing, what is you're trying to change something. It is very easy for Alternative today or Nimarunji Foundation today to ask for a grant, but it isn't easy for my brother somewhere who owns a shop or a garage to ask for a grant. Yeah. So the idea is, one, we must first of all understand what are startups, what are SMEs. Then of course you look at Africa-wise, which grants do we normally have? Now, normally the kind of grants we normally receive, because we are talking about investment in Africa, the kind of grants we normally receive, one, they are impact-based.
Yes.
Two, they are always infrastructure development-based. That's why you see roads, World Bank sponsored.
Yes.
Then three, they are normally looking at solving problems. That's where the SDGs come in. Yeah? And then those three, normally, of course there are also other grants that always come in, but at least those three are the core. Now, when you look at our emphasis has so much dwelled, yeah, on the infrastructure as a country, Uganda speaking. We tend to focus more on the infrastructure development, but then at the end of the day also, the implementation can be debated some other time. Now, the only problem with that is the kind of grants that we are looking at now are coming directly to the government.
Most of them, yes.
Yes, most of them are coming to the government. Now, you will face a challenge where the government is both a player and then a referee. Yeah?
You're both competing with the government in
So
the same grant.
now, she will be competing with the government, you will be competing with the government, I'll be competing with the government. Now, when they even come down to the SDGs, because now again, SDGs, you will find that most of the ministries related projects are again sponsored by these guys.
Yeah.
And already there is a budget that is running for them. Yeah.
From
So
the
now,
government coffers, yes.
how then will the youth now become key players? So we need to start discussing a model where the government can leave certain aspects in terms of grant receivership.
Yeah.
When you look at, even as that happens, because it is actually a fact, I don't think we have drawn a difference between what can the government apply for as far as grants are concerned and what the startups and innovations are supposed to apply for. So by often there is no line drawn, and you'll find Numarunji that is 1 year old is competing with a Minister of Agriculture or Minister of Education for the same grants. And more often the other one is going to take because they have had something to show.
Yeah.
And yours is they have to go through the whole idea of what are you going to do, how do you plan on doing that? It's too much work. So what do you think we can do in that perspective? Because it seems, in other words, the government is literally suffocating the ecosystem of startups in the country and in Africa particularly. How do you think we can draw a line between those two?
Now, one, we need to come back to the table and discuss our policies and our regulations. Yeah, because that is a policy issue. It's a policy question. Now, as a student of policy, I believe that our government doesn't have the political will to have that discussion. I do believe that. Because when you look at the kind of policies that we have, they are all centered on the government controlling. Because, look, for her to apply, to even just be registered, she has to go through a government entity.
Yes.
Yeah? Now, for her to apply for an international grant, they are going to ask her at a certain point. They will ask you for certificates. And some of them you will even find internal security organization certificates. It comes back to her. Again, you're competing with your regulator. So we need to first have...
And even an area that the regulator is not competing, either they are supposed to first give you away, which sometimes they don't.
So now, how do we then move away from that? That can only be done by saying, look, if you want to be a referee, be a referee. If you want to be a player, but you can't be both.
You can't eat your cake and want it.
Yeah. But of course, if the government in its capacity can only be a referee. That's how it is supposed to be, at least. Regulate, watch over the market, and then, of course, accessibility, because accessibility has to be through government. In terms of these grant opportunities are available, please apply. Yeah, if we could be looking at now centers where you can come. I have always believed that things like Innovation Village, these are entities that should be owned by government. For a functional government, really, that caters for the youth.
So let me first understand this clearly. So we want innovations and we want startups to be independent and do their own work. But even those that are there, you're saying that they should be owned by
I'm saying these are initiatives that should be run by a government. Because why? You see, a government has more capacity to attract
investors,
grants than any private entity worldwide. Why? Because a government, first of all, governments can access money from World Bank. Governments can access money from their own. Yeah? So imagine you have say, a hub that supports young innovators, and this hub runs year to year, and it has a budget by the government, and well implemented and transparent. How many people would it touch, and how many people are our private players touching? Because again, our private players they also have to look for the money to come back and support. So that is a whole big bureaucratic process. But then also we have to look at one. I think also we have a syndrome of of looking at things from the surface of how are things playing and how come we are here. Because you need to also first find out, is there the political will? Because when you talk about capital market ventures, we are talking about introduction of cheap loan, or rather of cheap loans. Because loans are very expensive.
And subsidization of taxes and all that.
So loans are very expensive, first of all. Then you need to talk about accessibility of the internet today. Many startups are running on the internet.
Yes.
Yeah? Many innovations. She has been talking about data. That is internet. Because people can no longer pile files and all that. So, but right now, our internet is very, very expensive. Yeah. So how do we narrow down? How do we cut down and say, now these are priorities that we have, and we must deal with them. We must support them, because again, they're the game changers for young people. Most startups were doing their businesses online, but the shutdown of Facebook, it kicked out some players.
Is this? Would you think this is a problem of us as a country, particularly Uganda, or it's because when you look, I looked at the statistics of the startup investments, and in Africa, about in 2021 alone, they had about 4.6 billion. But the most part they went in South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, Egypt, and I think Morocco at some point. With these ones, obviously, and now the others have been left to playing catch up. So even when we do, as we advocate for good areas and avenues for startups, how can we make the field even? That as someone who is in the United States, and another one who is in South Africa, another one who is in Uganda, have the leveled ground for them to play.
I don't think there will ever be that leveled ground.
Well, that is what we should strive for, shouldn't it?
Yes, it's very good to aim for the best, but then it is also good sometimes to be a bit realistic. I wouldn't want us to look at, especially for capital investments, to look at 2021. Why? Because COVID-19 has moved a sizable capital sizable capital outflow out of Africa.
Yes.
Yeah. We were affected the most in terms of, and priorities changed, yeah? So we had very many, quite almost all our budgets were now focusing on health, and of course some countries also were looking at now other internal, we had elections, so really 2021 wouldn't be the best example. However, I would believe that, yes, we could look at that. We could look at how Africa comes in, yeah? But then now we need to start talking about what is the African continental trade.
Free trade area.
Yeah? What is it doing about it? What is the African Union doing about it? Because you see, for as long as we don't have institutions that are working for us and in our interests, then it's going to be the same song. Because when you go to Kenya, it is the same song. And
it reminds me of when Museveni was speaking at Uhuru's inauguration. He did mention, he cited the example of this Roosevelt, what is the other name? That former president of the United States. That in his term, part of his economic growth was basing on the home market, which was, he was saying the integration, East Africa, we should also focus on our markets, which is focusing home before you go outside. So at the end of the day, if you look on the other side, the others are not going to have your interests at heart. They will have theirs first. So, but Africa seems to always want to run out, receive.
Talking about that, I think it's like very, very sad. As Africa, Reagan usually likes to say we should do like a soul search. We should like find our own like identity, our own strength, instead of always being on the receiving end. That's what we tend to like do. I don't know what makes Africans think they can't even like invest in themselves.
Yes.
Me, I think we can have local investments, yeah? I don't know why all rich people are rushing to build petrol stations. Like, that's, there are so many petrol stations in the country. I don't know if you have so many cars, so many, I don't know, so many things that are actually not necessary. I'm sorry. Yeah, but truthfully, there should be like, I don't know, there should be something that is done around local investment. Yeah, can the richest guy in my village believe in me, in my idea as a startup, and they invest in me, and we work together and build maybe that startup? Yeah, like, I don't know if it's us, the startups, the entrepreneurs, the innovators that have to, like, you know, put ourselves out there, or if the people in the community, their mindset has to like change, because we have really completely failed to like believe in like ourselves as Africans, that we have like all it takes to also build Amazon, to build Tesla, to build Google, to build, I don't know, all those kinds of innovations. Yeah, so like he said, it's going to be like very hard, of course, to get equal access to investment. That's like almost close to like unachievable. But the best that always happens with inequalities is understanding the differences, like we've said, yeah? Even in gender, any kind of inequality, the best you can do is understand the differences of the parties that we are having. And the moment you understand those differences, then you know how to include all of them at their capacities. Yeah? You know that equality thing, they say the tall person is given 2 tables and then the other 3 tables. Yeah, that's pretty much what has to be what?
So they
what
can
has
level
to be
up,
done.
yes.
Yeah, level up. They don't have, if they are giving action aid maybe 300 billion, maybe that's what it needs at that time, yeah? But for me, maybe as Nimarunji, maybe even it's not the money that I need. You could find what I want at that time is a mentor I want people to collaborate with. You could find I need maybe someone to take me through like the model, and I build it and it's like relevant. And like, what more would I ask for if I
just
got
probably
that?
need incubation.
Yeah,
And that
you
is
probably need incubation, and from there,
Okay. In that case,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go in for a short commercial break. When we come back in the second hour, the conversation is going to continue, but now I want also to lean on the side of unemployment and how we can fight that, because now it looks like the ground, like you said, is not level. And so young people are going to always be left out, because let me tell you, at the end of the day, nowadays, literally, the jobs that are there cannot employ all of us. They can't give us all the jobs. I was looking at the statistics that in Africa, there's about 10 to 12 million young people who come into the labor market, but the market only can provide about 3.1. So you realize there's a very big margin of young people who are released every year in the labor market, but they cannot find employment because it's not there. So we need to create avenues that can create employment. So I want us to look at the employment as one, look at what could be the conducive environments that can be created for young people to thrive in those employment as they create them. But also in the second hour, our viewer will be in position to call. I'm going to read you the numbers that you can call in live. You ask a question or you make your comment. Or alternatively, you can go to our social media platforms and put in your questions or your comment. I'll be able to read it in the second hour. Let's go in for a short commercial break.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digital,
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digital TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
My migrant stakeholders run bili abirimu ebiri emisinde gigenda okubeera ku ssaawa ekkololo ku sande nga 2 October. Tudduka okusonda ssente okuddaabiriza ekifo ekibudaabuda bankuba kyeyo nga bakomyewo. Eddembe lya bannayuganda bakolebwe buvunaanyizibwa bwaffe era kitukakatako okulwanirira eddembe n'obwenkanya mu mirimu gy'abankuba kyeyo. N'olwekyo weetabe mu kuddaabiriza ekifo kino ng'ogula kiti ya mitwalo 2.5 okuva ku petrol station za Shell Kabalagala, Shell Lugogo, Capital, Shell Najjanankumbi, Shell Nansana, Shell Namave ne Shell Buloba. Biwagiddwa Star Times, Reham, Fresh Dairy, Roofings, Housing Finance Bank, Maritime Cargo, olwo ne bikutusibako ofisi ya President ku nsonga z'emitala w'amayanja, UERA ne Migrant Workers Voice ne bitegekebwa. Sinat Advertising.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
You're welcome back from that short commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. My name again is Regis Turiabwe, and this day I have the privilege to moderate the discussion with these young people, and I'm drinking from their fountain of knowledge, both of them. I hope you're also learning a thing or two. But before we go to the discussion officially, I want to also remind our fellows that about the migrant stakeholders run that is going to happen at Kololo Airstrip on the 2nd of October this year, 2022. For every stakeholder, including us as people, because most of us actually do have relatives who are in those Middle East countries that are doing BAU, as we like to call them. If you have someone, they should, you as a family member, you should be able to join in. But also those companies that do take, please remind them to be a part of it. It's going to involve the government itself, the people, the migrant workers themselves, and the middlemen in the whole process. So should please be there. You can buy a kit at all Shell stations. I think there's one of Kabalagala, there's one of Lugogo, and a number of those others, as you can see down there. Or you can call those lines. Those gentlemen will be able to address those issues as you need them. Now, as we come back to the second hour, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to look at unemployment. Yeah. We did establish that the startup system and the ecosystem as a whole is not in a position to hold by itself. And we cannot count on the employment, the jobs that are there. And yet we produce a lot of young people. Uganda in particular has, I think, over 70% population being young people. And so you cannot count on the job market, the employment market, to consume all these laborers that come in the market every year. So how do we create conducive environments for these people to be able to get out of universities, for example, to be able to do something? And that also looking at, I want to get the perspective from the education system as one, but also how we can enable the ecosystem of startups to be able to thrive. I'll begin with Sabrina.
Thank you very much. This is a good one for me. The fact that I'm so passionate about the education sector, as well as capacity building programs for young people, in that they have employability skills or the skills they need to create their own jobs. So one, I think that I don't know who is going to have this discussion, if it's our parents, individuals, the government, people like Reagan, but
the government is the Reagans. So.
Yes, the government, the Reagans. But we take, how many years do we spend like in school?
About 24.
Yeah, about like 24 years.
Literally, we've been in school since
graduation.
Yeah, we've been in school since we were born. So it always like saddens me so much how someone can spend 24 years in a system and they get out of it and they can't even do anything for what? For themselves. Yeah. What they have studied for 24 years can't apply anywhere. If you're to make a research, most people, the things they study at university or in school, they end up not being applied anywhere after. Some even start boutiques. Very sad. So for me, in my opinion, I've always thought, actually for me, unemployment in like my head and my imagination is not a huge issue. I think this is something that can be what? Solved.
Addressed.
Yeah. We need to first look at like all that wasted time. How can we make it impactful? How can we make it meaningful for the beneficiaries of what? Of education. Yeah. How can we make learners actually benefit from it even when they do what? When they leave school. We have all these syllabuses, that things we study in our curriculums that don't really contribute what? So much. Right now, it's very true in the 21st century, yeah, that the 21st century skills are at the forefront of everything. Problem solving,
Yes.
like he has said, the things that are relevant in our community is being able to like create impact, being able to solve a problem, being able to contribute something that is, you know, beneficial to the community. Those are the kinds of people even investors are looking for. So as a person who is passionate about education, is it very hard for us to start those design thinking programs at an early stage? Yeah.
Yes.
Because the only reason as to why me as Sabrina have a startup right now is because I got introduced to a program, Technovation. So it kind of like challenges young girls from the ages of 8 to 10 to identify problems in their communities and solve them using mobile applications.
You started Nimarunji at 10?
No.
Okay.
But I started the program, joining that Technovation program when I was in like senior 2, senior 3, around there. So it helped me to understand that as an individual, I have to contribute to the what? To the community. So my line of thinking and thought and my approach to life has been completely different from my what? From my peers. Because they are structured to believe that go through school P1, P2, P7, senior 4, senior 6, and at the end, most of them sit. They don't even know how to do what? How to move forward. So, well, we may not remove education, yeah, in as much as I would say that would be lovely if we get like if we get like people and they are put in like different. If I'm passionate about, let's say, maybe graphic designing, why should I go through mathematics and biology and geography?
And history.
Yeah? And history. We need like a growth, we need a growth mindset in our education sectors, yeah? Starting from our parents. Identifying our interests, the things that we are passionate about. Because the truth is that those things are always there. Me right now, my mom can tell you that what I'm doing, she has always seen me doing what? Doing it, yeah? So can our parents really take like that effort, that initiative? If the government can't afford us those programs, can our parents at least do what?
Can parents afford them?
Yeah. For me, actually, I don't even see why we have a problem with school dropouts being unemployed, yeah? Because skills can be monetized. Skills can be digitalized, yeah? Even if it's a Rolex shop, I've seen people build Rolex products into very big what? Companies. There's Yuga Roll, yeah?
Rolex both.
Yes. There's all those like small, almost anything can be expanded to be made what? Big, yeah? So we need to really like have those like discussions, have like those different mindsets. Stop that thing of being like in a box, eh? We are so sorry, like it's something we've found like from before. We are all structured to be in school and wholly in it. But at the end of the day, what are we going to do? What?
Is it also just a problem of system, or is it also a problem of us as individuals? That even when we wake up every day, well, it is an issue that we want to go to school.
Yeah.
They will tell you, you have to go to school, you must go to school, so I have to go to school. But even then, do we take the initiative and interest to nurture our passions as individuals?
Yeah, so of course we start with the system, yeah? Because me, I'm just really a young kid. And I've been told go to school, because I remember when I was little, almost like the only thing we would all know is you go to school and go to Makerere. So in Kavale, you would all be saying, me, I want to study, and I go to what? To Makerere. So how can my creativity or my thought process be engaged if at the early stage that's where I'm being what? Directed. I'm being programmed for what? For that. And then we have, of course, the different personalities. We have people in our community, like people like me, people like Regan, people like Edgar. Those are people who really go outside of their comfort zone. But it's not the same for everyone. According to our different statuses, our different backgrounds, our different, contributors that we have in our lives. It's different for everyone. And it's not Regan's fault that for him he didn't get support to think, it's not really, to get exposed to the opportunities. It is not his fault. Yeah, so we need to work around the system. Like you've said, we are talking about including the youths, yeah? Most of the people that make these policies, they don't even relate to our time now. They relate to their what? To their time. They are older people. They have refused to leave offices.
I have had issues with the LDC and their modus operandi. Literally, it is because the people who are running it suffered so much back in the day. So you must feel what it feels to become a lawyer.
Yeah.
It's no soft landing.
Maybe for them then it was really important to study Napoleon Bonaparte and all that. But right now with our times, problem solving is the thing. Technology is the thing. These practical skill sets, they are the thing. So how can we fight to make sure we have as many people as Regan in these tables of policy making, on these tables that come up with all decisions that have to affect us as young people. Okay. Because if the people deciding for us don't even understand what we need, don't even relate with our challenges and our concern, it's going to be very problematic for them to actually help us. They are only there. Me, I look at it as a selfish thing.
It is a whole process of there's nothing for us without us.
Yeah.
But Regan, I want to have your take on the same issue of the system vis-a-vis the reality. How do we live through these things?
We have a big problem, and like my sister has suggested, one, it will take social behavioral change. We need mindset change, and those are things that they have to start. We need to. We simply need to have the mindset of a typical Ugandan changed. I hail from Rujumbura, Rukunjiri district, Uganda, and there, when you see a kid who is not performing very well academically, the saying is, yeah, go enroll for technical college, so that you don't waste money because you're not performing well. Yeah, so that's not a question of the government at that level.
But that is also.
I'm coming.
So let me cut you just a second.
I'm coming.
Okay, please.
At that level, that's not a question of the government. Yeah, but to how far has the government contributed to that? It's to a bigger extent, because is the government creating avenues for these people with skills to get up there, so that a typical Ugandan can see that, wow, this person took this path, so therefore it doesn't look like a relegation zone for those people who are not very well academically and financially.
It looks like a punishment,
actually. That is why I wanted.
It's a relegation zone,
It looks like a punishment.
Yes. And so now let me ask you this. Okay, leaving the whole idea of government and individuals at that. When you say that someone is not performing well in class, and so they should not waste money, do we really try to find out what they can do?
It's a mindset change.
Is that an issue of the government?
No, that's an issue of the government. Because you see, our education system has been tailored, to grading us in 1, 2, 3, simply because, one, you see, in class, our class, and I've already said this, and I still continue to make this argument, our education system is tailored to see who can best memorize things.
Yes.
Not who best understands.
We are doing cram work through
Yeah,
school.
because you see, I will come, the dead are not dead. Napoleon Bonaparte. So I read and then memorize. Yeah. Now, for as long as I can read and then remember, and then just put on paper, that's
brilliant.
it. Yeah. But then you fail to pay attention to someone who can create a shoe. Yet in the whole class, you're wearing shoes. Yeah?
Yes.
So these are skills that actually should be now. Could we see the government making it compulsory? For example, why are we studying Monday to Saturday? And we are studying Napoleon. We are studying
all those hours.
Why wouldn't we have, say, Thursday, Friday,
Yeah.
and people are doing skills, and it is compulsory nationwide? Yeah. So the government again comes in. Again, our education system. And this is not a problem of just Uganda. Go to Kenya, they are also complaining of the same. Go to Tanzania, they are complaining of the same. The problem is we are still stuck in the colonial setting. What these guys thought was good for us is what we still think is good for us. And that's where she was talking about soul searching. We need to start thinking, what is typical of an African society today? Is it Napoleon really? Is it King Louis?
It's probably not.
Is it the literature and the good English that we are striving so hard to speak?
I saw a meme on Twitter that Ugandans are just broke people with good English.
and it's very sad. Yeah? And it's very sad that most of these government officials, even big people, they all credit young people. They're like, young people, they are innovative, they are open to learning, but are they really doing what it takes to actually tap into this potential that we have? Like we've seen, we make up the most population of the country, even worldwide. So do you want to tell me really why I say it's selfish? Do you want to tell me that this is robot science, that the government can't see that's where the potential is?
No, one, I tend to believe that our political leaders, and I won't say the government, but our political leaders are, for lack of better words, they are users. Yeah? So they want to tell us what we want to hear, but they don't believe it. They actually see us as a threat.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's very
so
true.
they will come and tell us, young people, you're this. Young people, you're this. What are they looking for? Us centering ourselves around them, and they use us for their political gains. But that's not the issue really, because at the end of the day, that's how politics is structured worldwide. But these people don't look at young people as, you know, innovators, as players in the market. These guys look at young people as threats, as potential threats. One, they know that young people have, you know, are alive to the new world. Yeah. So she can use social media in a way that my father can't. Two, they think we are coming for their slots, and it comes back to the syndrome of I'm here to stay. Yeah. But
Selfish,
also, when you talk about employment, now it moves also again from just the, because it moves again from just the education system also to the markets and you know, like you said, the ecosystem around. Because look, as of today, if you access a loan in a bank, you need collateral. I mean, you have been studying for the last 24 years.
They expect it.
And again, these guys are telling you, we want land for us to give you a loan so that you go and start something. Now, how could I get land without having anything to do? Look at our job markets. You come, you're from campus, these guys are telling you 5 years experience. Maybe we should start looking at, okay, could we have forced internship?
Some even said 20. You're saying 5 years.
Is that in the sense of, I think I've seen some countries do that compulsory government work, I think, at some point before you leave campus.
And I don't think it should really be compulsory, but then could we avail opportunities, at least say from every ministry we have year 1s, year 2s and year 3s, and that is the experience that at the end of the day they gain, Because again, it comes back to restructuring our education system. Why do we study even at campus? You find lectures the whole day. What do you study?
In our institution that we should be specializing.
My best time when I benefit from school at university is when they give us research work and you have to go research on a topic, come up with like a proposition or something and present it to class. Those things I can never forget. But just those of going to class and just listening. Yeah. Well, we have lecturers that are actually very good who know that teaching is not about me speaking my ideas into the learners, but it's me giving them an opportunity to, you know, think out loud and be part of like the class. But those are just like 1 out of 10. So it really gets like sauce. And for creatives, the other day I saw a meme that had, it was sort of like a pool, and it had those, of course, the bookworms, those that read and memorize, like he had said. They were on top of the swimming pool having their best moments, and then the creatives were under in the pool like skeleton. They had already died. Like
and I think that, of course, taps in into the tragedy, because I was reading a story somewhere, and people were drawing a comparison of who knows any professor that owns a building. And deep down I started thinking.
And you can
I couldn't see one in my head.
Have.
But you see, the question is not actually about the building or who owns what. The question is, all people are fundamental in our society's development.
Everyone is contributing.
But you see, you know the famous song, Agara Agasiru Muchibina.
Yeah, I know.
The idea is, our education system also structures young people who are gifted with academics in terms of memorizing and and then it makes them think that now you are up
on
there,
top of the world,
and therefore you can only go the academic way. I don't know whether you're getting it. Like read traditional courses, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be an accountant, and then
be that. That is it.
Be that. You have made it. You have made really. The parents would say you have made us proud. But then when it comes to what is on market here, people don't actually want to know a lot of English. These days, I think I can only consult a lawyer when I need a stamp, because at the end of the day, I can read those bylaws and understand what I need and what I don't need. Yeah. So the question is now not on the courses. The question is on what do you know. I can't make a toothpick, man. I'm 24. I've been in school for the last 23 years. Actually, I'm still in school, but I can't make a toothpick. Small as it is, and I would challenge you if you can make one. I can't make a fork. These are things we need to talk about. And I have a cousin who can mold cups deep down in Rukunjiri. But this guy can mold a cup. This guy can mold a plate. That guy is more fundamental to the people there than me with my policies, my work, internet. These guys don't want to know that. Can this guy make a plate? Can I eat? And I want to commend the Buganda Kingdom on that. The Buganda Kingdom, I think, has been at the center of advocating for skilling. You see, there is that common thing of abana mbayigiriza ebyemikono. And they are not just telling you that, okay, now dump this education system and then concentrate on this.
No.
But how do we create a blend of both?
A blend.
How do we create a blend of both? How do we get the skills and then also get the other? But then also for employment, I think we also now need to look at, okay, now formal employment. These guys who have, finished campus again, are they employable? Are they employable? I'll give you an example of people who do arts, social works. The first course units you do in your year one, first semester, you no longer remember anything there. The second, the third, the fourth, now you graduate with your degree.
With just nothing.
Simply because you crammed very well, and then at the end of the day, there is nothing you know. You're going to reach at work and then start relearning.
Learning, literally.
But then also the process of getting to that work. These guys are telling you 5 years experience, 7 years experience. Kati, where do you want this guy to get that experience? That's why I was thinking of how now do we design a model that allows these young people to read probably for 1, 2, 3 days at campus or 1, 2 days, and then the other days everyone is attached to a certain organization where they give in some hours. And then when you get all these hours, that accounts for your experience after that. Because there are countries that are doing it.
Yes, that is true. But now that is on the part
that is on the formal employment
of the system and the government and what they are playing. But do you sometimes think that sometimes even the people themselves, us as young people particularly, have a problem?
Yeah.
That,
yes.
Let me tell you, we will go to school, you will find someone who's doing engineering, has gone to school. They have studied their university, they are probably doing 4 years, but in the 4 years, they don't even know how to make sand. And sometimes it's not a problem of government. Do people, even young people themselves, take the initiative to get the skills they need in the field?
Yeah, that's very true. The other day, it's very true that young people really also need to like have a responsibility in ensuring that they actually benefit from the opportunities that the government has and the growth and the system and everything. One is that we've been talking a lot around employment, a lot around policy making. And one thing I've learned recently is that for policy making, for us young people, because the best we can do, like Regan has said, is give our opinions, give our submissions. We are so vibrant, we want to say our rights.
Sometimes submissions that are not even heard.
Yes, things that are not heard.
Most of the time.
But recently I learned from a workshop I attended that for policy making to be effective, us as young people, we need to understand how the government itself works. We need to be involved, which few young people
How do we get involved and how do we understand how it works when they are not making way for us?
No, I think that's what we want to tell ourselves most of the times, to stop ourselves from trying what you are saying. Because some of these things are there, the budget is there, and the budget has like very many opportunities that young people could actually tap in. But how many young people take time to look into that financial year budget? Look into it, all the details from A to Z. Who does? There are very few people who take time to look at what? To look at it. How many young people take their efforts to go to their local governments and scrutinize them, or maybe go at the parliament, because you can surely go there and scrutinize them and see how things are doing how things are working. But that's even besides the what? Besides the point. The point is that how do we get young people to do what? To also like be involved and Yeah, so it's going to like come from like a point of their engagement comes from like the differences that I've been talking about. Our geographical differences, our family setups, our societal setups, all of them have a very big influence on the direction I take
I want to agree to that suggestion.
Yeah.
Second, Regan wants to do something. But just a second. Before we look at the geographical differences and the family backgrounds and all that, are you trying to say that societies that have made strides and have grown in that perspective don't have those differences? Because even if it's the US, as it is the first world, they are different societies, there are geographical barriers, there are different issues, but how do they move over and above those issues? Regan,
I think I want to first comment on what my sister said, and for me that is very crucial. The reality is we still have a poor quality youth population. We have all, I think we are all still, one of us is still fresh at campus, she's still there, I'm just fresh from campus, you too. Now, I want you to remember in your class how many people used to really pay attention to reading anything, even if it is like how probably the parish development model could help youth. How many people even know that actually a youth can go to Centenary Bank for as long as you have a business and you can be supported. And this is government money that has been available to them. The problem is we have a youth that, for lack of better words, I would say, put a lot of concentration on things that are minor. And then we don't look at the majors. Because again, we say these are things for politicians. There is that, politics
yes,
for
that's
politicians.
yes.
Then there is also this debaters or gezi, you know. And this is campus.
And that's where opportunities come from.
Exactly.
Yes,
And this is at
Mm,
university
that's what
level.
I'm
Because you see, for me at university level, my thinking is at university level, you're supposed to be sitting down with this politician and have a debate one-on-one. Because at the end of the day, that is the time where you're supposed to interest yourself with what is affecting my mother in the village. Yeah? Because I've always told guys that, look, we cannot shun away from politics. Because at the end of the day, it will determine how much transport I used to get here. Yeah? So she has raised that point, and that is the sad reality that we have to. I mean, I want you to pay attention, and if you realize, you will find that the youth that would be called vibrant and eloquent and outspoken are in one circle.
Yeah.
Somehow you meet.
Yes,
somehow.
you know each other.
Do you know why we easily meet?
Because
I had never met her, but then I met her, not even because it was academic or something, but somehow I think I shared something, and then somehow we are talking, but then I already knew someone who knew her. I don't know whether you're getting my point.
Yes.
That's why they are small. That's why you can easily.
There's a small network.
There is a small network of
interested
youth.
young
That's why you can easily find that you know this one, you know this one, you know this one, because you share a common interest. But from your university, the question now becomes, how many do you know there? How many do you know there? How many do you know there? Me personally, I think I've left university without even very many people that can have that kind of conversation. So the quality of the youth is lacking. Youth need to interest themselves with these things. We need to listen. We need to read these things because we cannot run away. And then let us also stop talking of time. They have denied us this. They have you tried asking? You think these people came from nowhere, and then we must prepare ourselves also.
Yeah.
How do you want to be given an opportunity when you can even hardly speak? I remember there was a time we had guild presidents who were contesting, and they were talking about policies. So in one of the debates I was moderating, I asked this guy, what does a policy mean? And he never knew what a policy is.
It reminds me.
He had just crammed his.
I was at university, and some gentleman was studying for guild presidential, for a guild president, and he came to me and a colleague and said, "Guys, I want you guys to write for me a manifesto." I was like, "So why are you standing in the first place? I mean, you don't know what you're going to do for us. So why should you be standing?"
I never understood why people want people to write for them manifestos.
Shouldn't you write what you want to do for us? What problem you identified that has convicted you to come and stand for student leadership?
But, and I think that's where her point really it makes a lot of sound sense.
So now
on the question of I think the question was
differences.
Mine was okay. The question
the
was
geographical
the
thing.
differences, the barriers.
You see, the differences will always be there. But then at the end of the day, how are our systems structured to answer those differences? Because these differences cannot again answer themselves.
Yes.
We are the people, that have these differences. So me and Sabrina won't again be the ones to again come and So in a situation, I want to give you just a simple example. In a situation where we have regions advocating for ministers because again it is a regional question, then we are not solving these differences. We have people who say, the speakership has always been in the north, so it should stay in the north. You remember that?
Yes.
We had Easterners say, no, Kadaga can't go because this is also our person. So the problem is our politics has been structured to create these differences. In Kenya they say, I think there is a Kenyan proverb that says, for them it's now even a proverb, that when one of us is in State House, we are all in State House. It's yes, African-wise, because, and you see, when you talk about the differences, you need to concentrate more on Uganda and Kenya, because in Tanzania, apparently, it's one nation. They speak different languages, yes, but they have one unifying language.
It's
and
quite a totally
therefore,
different
they are
system.
one tribe. because it's not a question of tribe. But the only thing that brings in these tribes is a difference in language.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if I know you're a Gundi, or I'm a Gundi, but we can speak and listen to each other and relate, then we are brothers.
Yeah.
But the only problem we have here is one, the structure, because that one is a question of the top, really. It's a question of the top. So, and again, mindset change, like she was saying, mindset change. But then also, I think we need to also really have, I don't know, like a reconciliation process.
I have had
I
that.
think we need to have a reconciliation
we
process.
are so angry. People are so
we are so
angry.
angry. I
The
mean,
young people are mad at the older people. The older people are mad at them. Baganda are mad at the Bachiga. We all don't know where it started from. And for me, I think it's more important to focus on the future than the what?
I have had that song of reconciliation, and for the most part, to be honest, I felt like it is us scapegoating.
No.
Because let me tell you, Regan, if we sat on this table and said, look, we are in parliament, let's say we are MPs, and if we are MPs, we are probably members of a particular committee. Should our interests be that I am mad at you, or or it should be that we are in the same office and we should work towards the reason why we are here?
You see, the problem is we
The
are in the
reason
same
why-
office, but then we all don't want to admit that we don't want to work together, but then we display it in action. I don't know if you're getting that difference.
We play cover up.
You see, there is a lot of anger.
Yeah, there is. I agree.
There is a lot of anger. Yeah, but then also there are, of course, that one is more of really political and sentimental, and it may also drive us away from the theme. But maintaining the theme, we also need infrastructure development, because once these roads are really connected, it will be very easy. Rather, once roads are really good and all that, it will be very easy for a person in Kabale to transport their things here, young people. So we need that infrastructure development in terms of health, in terms of roads, in terms of transport. But then also we need to see how do we stabilize and create an enabling economy.
Yeah. Talking about an enabling economy, I think we also have very imperfect financial markets. Yeah, we have very huge, like, imperfect investment behaviors. Yeah, one, we have, of course, a divide: the rich and the poor. Yeah,
the rich are rich,
and
the poor
their
are poor.
investment behaviors are all like very different. Like I've said, it is going to be a very huge thing if we realize as Africa that local investment is actually huge for huge for us. But how can we attain local investment if we are having all these imperfections? We are having the poor people getting the worst interest rates. Yeah.
But is that only a problem that is unique to Africa?
When
I feel like that is literally global.
Yes, and it should be worked on. Yeah. It should be worked on because it should be favorable for what? For everyone. Yeah. In that way, it makes it very easy for anyone to do what? To invest, knowing they are going to do what? To benefit from what? To benefit from it. Yeah. And so it ends up like turning up like only big corporations can actually do what? Investments, yeah? Yet anyone can. A person who has not even gone to school can actually invest in you, Regan, and you build a very big, like, company, yeah? And then there's also insurance, yeah? We have insurance risks, yeah? And investors need to also know that they can be able to, have themselves protected if they are going to do what? To invest. But then remember that these startups, going back to the theme, yeah, most of them can't be able to do what? To do insurance, even on the insurable risks that are actually insurable, yeah, because they are not at that at that stage of like insuring them, and investors are not going to fund in them. Even with your very good idea, your very good concept, your very good model, the fact that they are not guaranteed, that they are protected, they are not going to do what? To invest in what? In you. So how can we make all those like processes and all those regulations easier for them because the truth is that they are really exposed to the what? To the risks. And the fact that that is even a threat to them, those risks of like, you know, doing those bigger like interventions and all that, it even stops them from actually doing more than they would actually do what? Want. Because they're like, now if I do that, I will be required to do what? To do this.
Yes.
I will be required to do what? To operate like this.
Regan,
let me just stay here. So you see how it affects us.
And you see, I think that's where there is also another element of athleticism syndrome.
Athleticism.
At least I can sleep. At least I can earn.
I was trying to understand that. At least.
Like someone tries to expand. Why don't you expand your business?
They settle on the minimum.
Why don't you get a loan and expand the business?
I'd rather have this one
at least
than risk the loan.
At least I can sleep, I can pay my bills. So
now
she has just explained it the best way possible, really.
Now,
it's the athleticism syndrome that kills us.
Yeah.
Time is fast spent. Now I want us to briefly, in a few minutes, look at, we have looked at startups, but I also want to look at the SMEs because you did draw a difference. And I don't want us to bundle startups and SMEs all in the same. Now, we understand and we acknowledge the fact that we have a flawed system of education.
Yeah.
We have a very bad ecosystem for startups. But now most of these young people, even when you leave campus and realize you cannot get a job, you want to start like a small business. And so you'll find the SMEs are literally everywhere. Yeah? And so how do we create this? Now, how do we make the environment at least simpler for them to thrive and create employment? Because, I mean, that is going to eat us up anyway. I'll begin with you.
So for me, one thing I believe in, is technology. I know it comes with its own challenges, but I can also tell you that technology is very powerful. And right now, for like those SMEs, they don't even need much. They don't need to have like a website. They don't need to have...
Don't need prototypes.
Yes, they don't need those big prototypes. But can we at least reduce like internet costs for them, like he has been suggesting, Because most of them, WhatsApp has a section for WhatsApp business. People create catalogs there on WhatsApp and they have been making market. I've seen young people actually try to digitalize their small businesses. Someone has a boutique. I know someone who is called Vero Collections. She was a student at Makerere and she's doing great. All she does is take pictures of her clothes, puts a price tag, binds them, puts a price tag, posts on social media. And people access her from access her from there. So can we make it at least like easier for Easier for them. Facebook, is it still very like open?
It now has a marketplace.
Yes, they make all those like market spaces like very easy for very easy for them. And also include them the same way there's an expo for startups, how they can call up Nimarunji, how they can call up Wapi, the good thing we have Tubayo. I don't know if you guys have heard of Tubayo Marketplace. It's also a young startup by young people. So what they do for them actually is put up a marketplace that invites these small businesses to come and exhibit their their products, showcase. And for them, the best they do is call for them people to buy their products. Even if I pass there and I don't have money, I will spot Regan and see that Regan is making saving boxes. I will take his contact, and the moment I have money, I will do contact them. So actually, I'm so proud of Tubayo now that I think about it, because we don't have any people that have been like very intentional about small businesses. They are always left out. Everyone wants to hear Nimarunji that is talking about education, technology, but no one wants to hear about that Rolex guy. No one wants to hear about your Rolex guy that you go to every day. And yet these are people that we can tap into, people that we can, and this is how we actually like increase our economy. If we have everyone being financially independent, because it's going to take long for Nimarunji to actually, you know, start gaining money, start doing what, because those are huge, like what? Prototypes.
Yeah, long term.
Yeah, long term. Actually, me right now, we are talking about investment. The truth is that I don't even have investment. So what I'm trying to think is some of the skills that I have as an individual to start those small businesses.
Yes, sir, you are
and then the
artist,
money,
also.
yes, exactly. And the money I get from those small businesses is what I'm going to use as capital for my what? My big dream. Yeah. So there's going to be that need to actually be intentional about these small businesses, create platforms for them, invite them to also speak here. Let the government consider them.
And a government institution that is tailored in that direction. Of the SMEs
I think I've read write-ups mostly. Mostly I've read government write-ups.
The only problem we have is that I'm sorry to interject. Just
no, it's your time.
It's just the biggest problem we have is the question of whether we have or not isn't really the question, because policy-wise on paper we always have very many things
and good things,
but where are they?
Very good things.
Yeah, I think the question is really implementation.
Yeah, implementation.
Okay. So please take it on. I also want to get your idea on what we can do.
I think
about
my
this
sister has covered the most crucial in terms of growth. I think technology really, because these days I personally find it much more easier to be delivered to what I want than me going out to look for what I want, because sometimes I'm even spoiled of choice. But on a phone, I can easily say, this is what I want.
There's multiple choices.
Yeah. However, to put it to context, I think that would really work in urban centers. Now, going to deep down in Rukunjiri, deep down in Kabale, what we need, one, is awareness of the current government programs that are there to support SMEs. If there are loans there, go there, educate these people, because these guys don't know. They don't. Let us invest so much in radio programs. Let us invest in awareness programs. Yeah, let information get to even the last person in Kabong.
That is equal access by
that is access.
So in very many ways, I think that is one. But then also infrastructure development again, because you see, in the north, for example,
and infrastructure includes internet, by the way.
Yeah. It's broad, of course. But I will because Price has covered internet, I will focus more on roads. If our world isn't connected, then we don't have market.
Yeah.
If I order for something from Lira and it is going to take 3 days to get here, or it's going to get here in bad shape because the bus was.
Well, there are a lot of bottles.
It will change the dynamics, but also create an enabling environment. Even here in the central, really, why cut down Facebook when it is employing very many young people, like she was saying? So let us look at a political will. Let the politicians really try to put up things that are, in terms of policies and the political framework. Let them try to see something that can be tailored to support SMEs, but then also SMEs people. Let us change our mindset. We shouldn't be SME forever.
I think time is running out. You can give it with your parting shots altogether.
Yeah. So as I conclude, I think one, we are really having the youth that are starting to see these things, and it's a very good thing. I think for once, I'm as a young person who has been in young people's spaces, the youth have the energy, the youth have the zeal, the youth are out there to shine, and I'm saying our country's future is really in good hands. But most importantly, as I conclude, I think we need to get out of our comfort zones.
Yeah.
We need to get out of our comfort zones. We need to strive to be better.
As we cry for support, we should be doing something.
We should do away with the mediocrity syndrome, because we can't just survive and just survive. We must strive to get to the top, and that can only take us patience, hard work, determination, and let us apply hard work. Theology won't solve Africa's problem.
I want to believe Regan is religious in some sense. So
yes.
I will try to put that in context.
I am a very, very, very good believer in the Lord, but then I also believe that work is at the center. And why I say that is because we have started having youth. I think of the most previous one is the pastor who was caning young people, and I was so hard to see youth also. I think that is really being too desperate and getting out of line, believing that someone can cane demons,
and a blessing is coming.
And very many people were young people. So that's why I'm saying theology won't solve our problems. We must put effort.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. The Bible itself also says hard work.
Yes.
You work, you eat. You don't work, you don't eat. It's just a simple natural. Please give us your parting shot.
Yeah, well, for me, I'm going to tell young people something most people are not telling them. Yeah, everyone looks like they have you at the center of their heart. The government wants to make you feel like, yes, I'm thinking about you. You're the big deal here. Even your parents, by the way. Yeah. Even your parents, they want to make you feel like you're at the center, you're the center of everything they are doing. But the truth is that everyone is thinking about themselves. Yeah? Even your parents, they are thinking about the best they can get from what? From you. Most of them want to use you to achieve what they failed to achieve as what? As individuals. Yes. Yeah? But that's like very bad, like, in reality, it can't happen. You will be lied, go through all those 24 years of school, trying to help them achieve their goals or the government, but at the end of the day, it will get back to what? To you. So what I can say, can we please focus on self-development? Can we start thinking about ourselves? What do we want? What do I want? Can you get passion? Yeah? As a person, it all starts from passion, by the way. Yes. Being able to know that, okay, me as Sabrina, this is what gives me satisfaction. This is what gives me fulfillment. But if you don't even have that, it's going to be very hard for you to be relevant in the what? In the world today, in the market, in entrepreneurship, in any field. Yeah? So let's do everything it takes to start investing in our what? In ourselves. Yeah, and not live the dreams of other people. Yeah, and also because they will give us their timelines, but we have our own timelines. Yeah, every individual has their goals. Yes, you have your own goals. Even when you're really cramming that test of chemistry, at the back of the mind, you know that really for me, I want to develop this product. So why can't you start at the moment when you get that small feeling in your heart? At the moment you start feeling like, but I really love machines.
You will get the feeling.
Exactly. What can you do with the feeling so that at the end of the day the feeling is beneficial to what? To you. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, lady and gentlemen. I want to thank you particularly for your time here, but also for the interest you have given us, and also to our viewers for following all this through. It is quite a long time, and like you said, this is also quite an innovation, and it takes resources also. So I want to thank you, those who sacrifice your data for 2 hours straight. It is very expensive, especially since Facebook is on lockdown, literally. So I want to say thank you, because it's not important for us to just sit here and talk to ourselves about this and that. It's also important. We only do this so that someone out there can learn from us, but also can educate us on one thing or two. So I want to thank you, all of you, and also want to say shout outs to the ED of this place for also having this innovation there, because it's also contributing something. It means that there is something that you're doing as you're waiting for the support that we're all saying. So like they said, please don't be in a comfort zone. Please get out, do something as you seek for support. Please have something to present. Let me tell you, people will support something that is existing. You cannot go to someone and tell them, look, I think I can do this, and they'll give you the money. They cannot. They will fund something you have begun. So please do something, get out, and try to be productive, but also engage your leaders. Try to understand what is on ground. Be productive, be engaging, and don't sit home. So ladies and gentlemen, that is all we have for today. My name is Roger Suriawe, and from all of us from Digitalk, we want to give you a shout out. And also to the people I work with, the Tenjo Nabukera behind the camera, and the gentleman Arnold Anthony Mukose in the control room, to make sure that all this gets to you in real time. Ladies and gentlemen, have yourselves a good day, a good morning.
told us 1,222 gyemisinde gigenda okubeera ku ssaawa ekkololo ku sande nga 2 October. Tudduka okusonda ssente okuddaabiriza ekifo ekibudaabuda bankuba kyeyo nga bakomyewo. Eddembe lya bannayuganda bakolebwe buvunaanyizibwa bwaffe era kitukakatako okulwanirira eddembe n'obwenkanya mu mirimu gy'abankuba kyeyo. N'olwekyo weetabe mu kuddaabiriza ekifo kino ng'ogula kiti ya $2.5 okuva ku petrol station za Shell Kabalagala, Shell Lugogo, Capital, Shell Najjanankumbi, Shell Nansana, Shell Namave ne Shell Buloba. Biwagiddwa Star Times, Reham, Fresh Dairy, Roofings, Housing Finance Bank, Maritime Cargo. Olwo ne bikutusibwako ofisi ya President ku nsonga z'emitala w'amayanja, UERA ne Migrant Workers Voice. Ne bitegekebwa Sinat Advertising.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digital,
as he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digital TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.